No loyal men. All men fuck other women. We are low by nature and have to do it. We are men. All men do it. We have to do it. We are men. It is a man thing. Men must find and conquer as much pussy as they can get. Do not think for 2 seconds that you're the only one your man is fucking. He is a man and has to conquer women. I see a lot of you get women out there sitting out there going, not my man. Yes, your man too. Your man too. If he's not here with you tonight, he fucking somebody.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tunji's podcast. I am your host, Tunji Taylor Lewis. Hope y'all are having a great start to your week this week. Whether you're watching this live on a Sunday or whether you're watching or listening to this on a Monday, hope the start of your week is awesome and fantastic. Hope you all have a great one. I hope you all achieve some goals this week. All that good stuff. Today, I want to talk a little bit about laughing at stuff that we don't agree with. Definitely in today's climate, in 2019, going in 2020, we definitely live in a time where, you know, people will watch comedians or watch, you know, funny movies. And, you know, if they don't agree with what the performer is saying or what the actor is saying, whether it has to do with political views or views on society or just, you know, just like random things in general, a lot of people feel like they can only laugh at something that they agree with. And I feel like that's a shame. You know, I feel like, you know, you're not, people who do that don't give themselves the opportunity to laugh to laugh and just like have a good time and just enjoy life and just enjoy a performance from a comedian or for an actor. Because you know like in my personal life, for example, like when I watched Eddie Murphy for the first time, and he was talking about how all men are cheaters, how there's no such thing as a loyal man, which is probably the clip that I'm going to use in this to start off this podcast right here. You know, I can remember watching that at, you know, like 17, 18 years old, and like obviously not agreeing with it, because, you know, like I grew up in a family where that's not the case, and I grew up around a lot of families and personally know a lot of dudes who aren't cheaters and stay loyal to their girl. But with that being said, the way that he performed the joke and the way how he was talking about it and the way how he did routine based on that premise was absolutely hilarious. And I think that was like my first time distinctly like having the experience of like, I don't agree with what he's saying, but I'm still having a great time watching him perform it and say like what he believes to be true. Or maybe he doesn't even believe it to be true. Maybe he's just like joking. How about that, right? But definitely, yeah, like there is definitely a part of me that wants to, you know, figure out how to get people to laugh at something that they don't agree with. Because you know, like once you're in comedy for a while and once you perform doing well, you kind of learn how to like pander to people. You know, in my experience, I've been in, you know, Christian circles, I've been in liberal circles, I've been in circles with older people and younger people, and you kind of just learn to know what their likes are and what their dislikes are, you know, and what their point of views are, and you kind of pander to that, right? You know, but there is like a really, really huge challenge in trying to make people laugh at something that they don't agree with, or better yet, make them laugh at something where they're the butt of the joke. That's a really challenging thing, but I have to believe that artistically and comedically that has to be a much more fulfilling feat, simply because it's just way more challenging. But while I've said all the things that I've said, I do believe that there are a good amount of people who, when they go to a comedy show, for example, or when they're watching something online, like they're able to take a joke very, very well. And I do wonder if people who speak out and the people who are sensitive to the stuff that a comedian says, right? Like, first of all, it's ridiculous that people put comedians on the same standard as, like, like politicians, or like, social workers, or like, just everyday regular people. Like, people don't give comedians that room to say risque stuff in jest. Like, everything the comedian has to say has to be, in line with what's socially acceptable, or what's acceptable for your political views, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I do wonder if the people who think like that, and the people who behave like that, and people who cancel people on Twitter or on social media, I do wonder if those people are the minority, and people who just want to laugh and joke and have a good time are the majority. The reason why I say that is because, like, I've started, like, following a bunch of accounts on YouTube and on Instagram where, like, the humor is just way out there, or the types of critiques, as far as, like, not necessarily feeling pressured to like something just because, a woman of color is taking the charge on it, or a gay person is taking the charge on it, or a black person is doing it. Like, they'll actually critique the actual art of it and say, no, this is bad. And I'm not just going to say it's good just because it's socially conscious or whatever, right? And I'm watching a lot of these sorts of accounts do really well on social media and on YouTube, and that's just making me think, like, okay, is this actually the way that people think? Is it just like they feel like they can't express it, otherwise they'll be, like, pounced upon by, the loud minority? Like, I really, really think about this stuff. And yeah, but just to, like, bring it on back around, I feel like it's really important for us to be able to laugh at stuff that we don't agree with, because when we're laughing at stuff that we don't agree with, that means that we have the ability to listen and take in and at least consider a point of view that we might not necessarily have right away. I feel like comedy is just, like, one of the best places to do that, just to, like, open the door for conversation. I really hate that, people will oftentimes make judgments on another person simply because, for example, like, you're a conservative and I'm a liberal. So that means, like, everything you say is racist, everything you say is, sexist, everything you say is homophobic, all that crazy stuff. It's just like, no, like, you gotta, like, give that person the chance to, like, express their perspective, and at least hear them out, for why they have the perspective that they have. Everybody has a reason for doing what they do, and even though what that person does can be frustrating to you, and even though what that person does can be wrong, having context for why that person thinks the way they do is always helpful. It's always helpful, no matter what. Like, it's like those characters in, like, Game of Thrones, or Stranger Things, for example. You have, like, the really, really evil characters who seem like evil at first, but then, like, when you hear, like, their whole backstory of, like, how they became what they became, and the trust issues that they have, and the reservations that they have, and the way they were treated before, you start to realize, like, oh yes, how this person behaved is still bad, but I have a better understanding now of how that person became how they became. It's not just a matter of, like, they're a bad person just because they're a bad person. It's everybody goes through their experiences, man. So yeah, no, I don't know. That was, like, kind of like a deeper, like, look at it. That was definitely a more, like, I guess, broader glance at it. But, I guess just to bring it back to comedy, it's like, yo, man, let's just, like, have a good time. Let's not take ourselves so serious. Let's not take life so serious all the time. Sometimes life definitely has to be taken seriously, no doubt. But, other than that, man, let's just, like, have a good time when when people are joking around. And if the joke's not for you, just turn it off. Don't try to cancel it. No shit like that. So, anyways, y'all, that's all the time I got for today. Thank y'all once again for listening. Thank y'all for watching. I'm going to try to do these Instagram lives every day at 6:30. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to stick to that routine, but I'm going to give it a go just so that so that y'all know when to expect me to do the live, so that you can plan on joining me if you would be so gracious. So that's it for today, y'all. Peace.